So welcome to the day 1 session of APM with Python by 5 Elements Learning. We basically have divided the entire course into two major parts. The first part is where we will be learning Python as a programming language, and the second aspect starts where we start talking about the tool APM to test Android applications with. So these are the two important concepts which we are going to cover in the entire course schedule. So I believe all of you were able to set up the system and you have the required softwares which were needed to start with our hands-on programming from day one itself. So during this session, you all will be on mute, and if you have any questions, just raise your hand, click on the icon to raise hand, and you can ask your question then. If you want to talk to me, I will unmute you for that particular time. During the session, I'll be taking logical breaks after some topics, and at that time, I would request you guys to please ask me questions. So if we can note down our questions, if something comes up during the time I am discussing something, you can just put it down in some note and ask me when I request you guys to throw your questions at me then. So this is the basic agenda. The class would be around for 1.5 to 2 hours, depending upon the speed which we are covering, the kind of doubts we are facing. So that's how the sessions are planned. Any questions before we begin with the session? Anything which you would want to ask or share? Okay, so let us keep this session interactive, because the more you interact, the better I will come to know about your progress. And at the end of the day, the important factor is that you guys learn the concepts of APM with Python. So let's make it an interactive session. Okay, so what is the agenda? Agenda for today is we are going to introduce Python. We are going to understand why Python as a language. Then we will start with our very first script of Hello World in Python. We will learn about the different data types in Python. How do we fetch input from the end user? What is type conversion? And then we are going to have a look at the numerical and the logical operators if time permit. So Python is basically a general purpose interpreted and interactive object oriented high level scripting language. It was created by Guido van Rossum during the 85 to 90, and the Python source code is available under the general public license. So why Python is a popular language? It is object oriented. It is a scripting language which is object oriented. Thus it supports the concepts of multiple inheritance, polymorphism, operation overloading. It is free and open source. So downloading and installing and setting up Python is free and easy. Free doesn't mean that it is not supported. The Python community is pretty big. It is portable, so Python runs virtually on any platform used today. As long as we have a compatible Python interpreter installed, Python programs will work in the same manner irrespective of the underlying OS. It is a dynamic language with lot of modules available in the PyPI portal. So there are lots and lots of modules available which helps us write down better programs and reduces the burden on us to create everything from scratch. It is easy to use and it is pretty easy to learn Python. The syntax of the Python is an English-like syntax. Unlike other programming languages, the Python language syntax is an English-like syntax. So the same program, if we see in C# or in Python or in Java, you will find out the language used in Python is very simple English like with very less number of statements required to solve the same problem. So Python is basically an interpreted language, but the programs are compiled automatically. That means they are scanned before they are being sent to the interpreter. Now, I believe you all have downloaded Python and you have installed Eclipse and you have set up the PyDev IDE in Eclipse. Have you all done that? Okay. Okay. Okay, so Marian, if you are using PyCharm, if you come across any problem while solving the same thing, let me know and then we will see how to get through it. Okay. Okay, so we are good. So let us write down our very first program and then we will learn a little bit about programming and start writing tough ones. So the first thing first, you have to open your IDE and create something called as a workspace in IDE. So since we are using in here in Eclipse, you basically have to open the Eclipse and you have to create a workspace. A workspace is basically a place available in our system where we store our projects created. So create a workspace at a particular location on your system where the Python projects you are going to create will get stored and click on the launch. In here, the first thing we are going to do is we are going to go to file and say new, and we are going to say you will be able to see this PyDev project. So since you have installed the PyDev from the marketplace in your Eclipse environment, you should be able to see this PyDev project. Click on PyDev project and provide the name of your project. The first time when you are creating the project, you have to click on this hyperlink which says that click here to configure as interpreter not tested. So it will basically find out where the Python is installed on your system and will store that location. Okay. Then you would click on next and click on finish to create the PyDev project. Remember, before we start working on this, we should have Python installed on our system. Then right click, say new. You can create a folder. Inside a folder, right click, say new, create a file. The extension of all Python files are py. So I create a file hello.py and I write in here one very simple statement, print hello world. I press Ctrl S to save it. Then I click on this play icon so that this command would run, and during the execution I select that run it using the Python interpreter. If it runs successfully, if everything is installed and it is executing, then we will see hello world on the console window. All of you please perform this step. If you face any trouble, let me know. Perform these steps please. Done? Okay. Samir, are you also done? Okay, great. So, pretty simple program. Now, before we start talking more about these programs, let us first understand some of the basic jargons which we will be using and have a good idea about the concept of programming. So, the word program basically means set of instructions given to a system with some input to get the desired output. Okay, so a program is effectively set of instructions which are given to a system with some input to get the desired output. Now a program basically have two parts. One part is the syntax of the program, the other part is the pseudocode or the logical part of the program or the algorithm. So these are the two entities which are associated with any program. Now when we change a programming language from one to another, the syntax part changes. But the logic remains the same. For example, if I want to write down a program to calculate area of a circle, and I write down the program in C sharp, and I write down the program in Java, and I write down the program in Python, will the logic associated with calculating area of a circle change? No, right? The logic is universal. It is pi r square. It doesn't change. But the way the program is written is definitely going to change because the language has been changed. So when we are learning a programming language, the idea is to learn it in such a manner that any other language becomes easy for us to pick up. Because what all we need to do, we just need to understand the syntax of that language, the grammar associated with that language. Will that language require semicolons in the end? Do we have brackets? How do you write an if statement? How do you write a for loop? These nitty gritties, if we sort out, we basically, if we know one language, we know every other language. So we have to work towards learning Python in this course from that mindset that tomorrow, if we have to use APM with Java, we are good to go with it. If we have to use APM with C Sharp, we are good to go with it. Because APM as a tool supports multiple programming languages. It is not bound to just Python. So, when we are going to pick this up, we are going to keep a bigger picture in mind. Okay, what is a pseudocode? Pseudocode are basically set of statements written in plain English which provides us with the logic associated with the program. So that is what a pseudocode is. So we have got the code or the source code, the syntax, output and the console window, the text box into which output is printed, the actual output which is getting printed, the syntax that are the different jargons, the way we are going to provide structures, commands to the programming, and the actual code. Now there is a small difference between compilation and interpreted language. So many programming languages requires us to first get it compiled. That means an intermediate file is created. For example, Java is a compiled language. So you have a file available in the .java extension. It is compiled to a file called as .class. This .class file gets executed. Whereas a Python, the program is directly interpreted into an executable code. There is no intermediate file created for the Python language. Okay, few more. things when we are going to talk about the Python language, rules or the way the programs are written. There are no semicolons in the end. A statement written in Python language doesn't end with the semicolon. There are no curly braces for marking start, end of a module or an if statement or a loop. Okay, there is no such thing. We do not declare variables in Python. You do not say int a equal to 10, float b equal to 20.5. We don't say that. We just provide the variable with the value. So we do not declare the data type associated with the variable in the Python programming language. For commenting, we use symbol for a single line comment. Python doesn't support multi-line commenting, so this is how we introduce comments in the language. What is a comment? Can any one of you tell me what is a comment? Right, it is basically a statement in an English language which is not executable, and the purpose of a comment is to provide meta information about the code at hand. So as we are going to learn about writing the code, we should also learn about writing readable codes. So the idea is that the program which we have written should be easily read by us or by any other person. So to write the readable code, we should use proper space and indentation. We should declare variables, method, files with proper naming convention and relevant. Okay, instead of ABCDs, we should declare variable like principal, amount, rate, time. So we should use proper naming conventions. There should be proper space and indentation, and we should provide comment wherever possible, so that if we are writing down a complex function, a comment prior to the function will basically help the reader understand what this function is doing. So these are some of the practices which we are going to inculcate as we start writing down programs in the Python language. So we should be careful about it. Okay. Anyone has any questions in here so far? Yes, I'm still there. I'm asking you guys, do you have any questions? If you have any questions, you can ask. If you don't have any questions, let me know no questions and we will move on. Okay, no questions. Great. So let us talk about the data types in Python. So what are the different data types available in Python? So you have got the number data type, which is basically int and float. You have got the string data type, which is basically a collection of characters, and then you have got a boolean data type which ideally holds only two values, true or false. So these are the three data types in Python. Now variable declaration. When you try to declare a variable in Python, you don't tell the data type associated with the Python. You just say var, that is the name which you want to give to the variable, use the assignment operator and provide a value. This will be interpreted by Python as an integer. This will be interpreted by Python as a double value or a float value. This will be interpreted by Python as a string. This will be interpreted by Python as a Boolean value. So depending upon the value which is assigned to the variable in the left hand side, Python figures out the data type associated with that variable. So you do not declare the data type associated with the variable. So we try out a small program. So I create four variables A, B, C and D. A is 10, then I simply say print A and I say print type A. Okay, and I repeat these statements for the rest of the variable declarations. So for B, for C and for D. When I run this program, it will basically tell me that 10 belongs to class integer, 10.12 belongs to class float, hello belongs to class string, and false belong to the class bool. Okay. So this is the output which we get. Try it out on your system. Try to create a variable with any of the values, either integer, float or string or boolean, and then print the variable itself and the type variable so as to understand the variable type associated with it. Try it out on your systems, please. Let me know when done. Okay, great. So all of you done? We're moving on to the next concept. So in the next concept, we are going to talk about how can we fetch the input from the end user. So when we are writing down programs, we should ideally try and make generic programs, dynamic programs where the input, instead of being hard coded at the script level, is fetched dynamically from a file or from the end user. And many a times that is also the requirement associated with the problem at hand. So how can you fetch the input from the end user? For that, you effectively have a function called as input. So you say input in bracket, you ask the user to enter, let's say, a number, and you assign it to a variable. So you say var is equal to input, enter the number. So whatever input the user is providing through the keyboard will get read and will get stored in this variable var. Now the question comes, what would be the data type which would get associated with this variable? Can you tell me? So try out this two statements and tell me what is the class which gets associated with this variable. So Marian, your answer is right. So as you will find out, no matter whatever type of input you try to enter, the input class which gets associated with that particular variable would always be a string. The reason whenever we are printing to the console or we are reading from keyboard, the data type which is associated with the value is always a string. But we have asked the user to enter a number, not a string. And the user, according to him or her, has entered a number. So how do we convert this string into a number, or a number into a string, or a string into a decimal point? How do we do that? For that, we have got few data type conversion functions, which are int, float, and str. So these conversion functions help us to convert one data type to another. So int function converts string to integer, float function converts string to float, string function converts number, bool, whatever to string. Okay. So now I'm going to say var is equal to int in bracket input, enter the number. In here, first the input will be read from the keyboard and then converted into an integer value and assigned to the variable. This is what is happening in this line. Make sense? Okay. So let us try to write down a program to calculate area of a circle where radius is provided by the end user. Now before we write down this program, let us write down the pseudocode. And in your initial few assignments, always try to attempt or take this approach that quickly write down the logic and then write down the actual program. And remember, the more your logic should be detailed enough so that every logic statement is matched to a statement in your program. So here is how we create. Ask user to enter the radius, store it in a variable, calculate area using the formula area is equal to pi r square, print area. So these are my steps. In my actual program, I say radius is equal to float. Inside it we have the input function and we are asking the user to enter the radius. Then we say area is equal to pi into radius and we say print area. So when you run this program, you will be prompted to enter a radius value and the area associated with the circle of the radius 10.9 will get printed. Please try out this program on your systems. And if you have any question in here, let me know. Okay, great. So let us attempt another program. Write down a program which asks user for principal, rate and time. Based on the input, calculate the simple interest the user has to pay. Principal to be read as integer, rate to be read as double, and time to be read as integer. The formula is simple interest is equal to P into R into T divided by 100. So this is the question. I want all of you to try out this question, and once you guys are done, please share your answer in the questions window. Please try it out. Okay. Good answer, Marian. So the output or the class which gets associated with the simple interest is effectively a float class or a double class. Okay. So good answer. Good answer, Samir. Okay. Fine. Both of you are correct with your implementations. So far we have learned how to fetch values from the end user and how do we convert it into the respective data type which we expect for that value to be, so that it can work with the programming logic we are trying to build. So we have learned about that. So before we move on to the next topic where we are going to talk about numeric and logical operators. So we are first going to talk about numerical operators and then we are going to talk about logical operators. We'll just take a short break of 5-10 minutes. And after the break, we will resume the session where we start our discussion on these operators which work on the number and the Boolean data type. So during the break, my voice will be on mute and screen on hold. So see you guys in next 10 minutes. Okay, resuming the session. I hope you all are able to see the screen and hear me. Great. So now we are going to discuss about the few operators which work with the number data type. The first set of operators are effectively the addition, the subtraction, the multiplication, the division and the remainder operator. So the addition operator will add two numbers, subtraction operator will subtract a number from the another, multiplication operator will multiply two numbers, division operator will divide a number from another, and the remainder operator will basically provide you with what is left value. So these are your numeric operators. They only work with the number data type. So if you try to work on these operators using a string data type or a boolean data type, we will basically get an error. For example, in this program, we are asking user to enter two numbers. Then we perform addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and the remainder operator on it. So when you run this program, let's say we enter two values, these are the output which we get. Okay, but if you do not convert this number to an integer value and you try to run this program using the data type which the end user enters, we basically get a unsupported operand type for string output. Okay, this is also wrong. This is concatenation. So in addition, so if your input is a string and you are trying to use the add operator, it will basically concatenate both the inputs. Okay. So 3 plus 2 is 5. It is not 32, but this is string concatenation. So this is the error which we get, which is the type error, telling us that it is an unsupported operand type if you do not convert the data into a number. Okay. So these are the output which we get when we work with the numeric operator. Now there is an interesting program which we can try out with numeric operator, and this program will also help with the logic building exercise. So let us first have the question at hand. So the question is, we need to find the lowest possible amount for each denomination in a currency value. So generally a currency is made up of different denominations. So here we are going to pick up the currency as dollar, US dollar. So $1 is equal to 100 cents. 1 quarter is equal to 25 cents. 1 dime is equal to 10 cents. 1 nickel is equal to 5 cents. And 1 cent is 1 cent, right? So these are the denomination available. So you have got dollar, quarter, dime, nickel and the cent. These are the values which are associated with each of these denominations. Now let us say we have provided with a value. Let us say the value is 54.78. In 54.78, if I ask you guys in the lowest possible manner, you can simply say it contains 5478 cents. Will that be right? If I say it has 5478 cents, will that be right? Yes? Okay. But that is not the answer we are looking for. We are looking for the lowest possible amount associated with every denomination. So if I say it contains $54, then how many quarters will it contain? If I want to find out how many quarters, what is the number you think? So minimum 3 quarters are there. 3 quarters will make 75 cents, right? So we say 3 quarters are there. So dime would be 0, nickel would also be 0, and it would be left with 3 cents. Is this correct? So if we have to solve this particular problem through a program, how would we do that? So what could be the logic we can use in here? There is a small hint. We have to basically use division and mod operator. And another hint is convert all dollars into cents first. So these are the two hints. Will you guys attempt it? And then we will discuss it. Would you like to try? Think about it. Try the pseudocode. And then we will talk about it. Okay? So I'll give you guys 5 minutes. Think about how would you approach to solve this problem. So, any ideas? How will we solve it? You are pretty much right, Marian. Just the division part will change a bit, but you are right. We are going to alternatively use the mod and the division operator. An excellent answer. So it's just that the way we divide it will change, but your approach is absolutely correct. So what exactly we are doing in here? Let's work with the data. So the first thing I did was I converted everything into dollars. So everything into cents. So this is the cent information I got. Now this is my denomination table available. So if I want to find out how many dollars are there in 5478, what should I do? I will simply say dollar is equal to amount by 100. This will give me the answer 54. Then remaining amount would be equal to amount mod 100. This will give me the answer as 78. Is this right? And this exactly is what we are going to follow throughout. Now what is the next thing you want to find out? You want to find out the quarter. So quarter would be remaining amount divided by 725. This would give you as 3, and remaining amount would become remaining amount mod 25. Let's call it as, okay, don't get confused. Let's create another variable. Remaining amount mod 25 will give you 3 again in here, right? Then what is next? Next you have to find out the dime. So dime would be divided by 10. This would be 0. And remaining amount would be, this would be 3. And this will continue for nickel and for cents. So this is what you are getting, you are printing. $54, 3 quarters, 0 dime, 0 nickel and 3 cents. So this is the approach we have taken. So in our actual program which we have written, we will find out this is exactly what we are doing. We are picking up the currency and we are updating our remaining amount for every denomination by alternatively dividing it by the currency denomination and taking the mod of it to fetch the remaining amount. Have a look at this program, understand the logic which we have created. If there are any questions, let me know. So RA is the remainder after every step. Yes, it is the remaining amount. So after you have taken a particular denomination out of the currency, what is the remaining amount left? Yes, we need that in our next calculation because from that remaining amount we need to fetch the new denomination. Just give me a minute, I'll be back. 1 minute, please. Sorry about that. Yes. Why not rename the remainder on the next step? Well, you can, but if our work can be done by just keeping one operator, and this is readable also, that every time we are left with the remaining amount, then that helps. But if you think that renaming the variable will make better sense for you or make it more readable for you, you can do that. No problem. Any other question? Hello? Is there any other question? Okay. Okay, please note that these programs, the assignment problem, the notes, and the recording, everything will be shared with you guys. So you don't have to write down these programs, it will be shared and then you can import these programs. And the notes, and if we give any assignments for the day, that will all be shared. And recording will take around 3-4 hours to get uploaded, so that will also be shared on a daily basis, as and when we have class. So the next set of operator is known as the shortcut assignment operator. So you have got plus equal to, minus equal to, star equal to, divide equal to, and mod equal to. The purpose of the shortcut assignment operator is to basically perform the operation and update the variable itself. Perform the operation and update the variable itself. So that is the purpose of the shortcut assignment operator. Okay. So in this program, we are declaring a as 10 and then we say a plus equal to 10. What would be the output which will get printed in line 4? 20. Then we are saying a minus equal to 10. What would be the output which will get printed in line 7? No, 0 is not the right answer. Remember, the value of a is now updated. A has become 20. So the output in here would be 10. Then a multiply equal to 10. Remember, perform the operation and update the variable itself. So a was 10. A multiply equal to 10 would become 100. Then this one, a divide equal to 10. 10 again. Very right. So generally shortcut assignment operators are not used oftenly in the program because they are little confusing, but nevertheless if you come across them in a program written, or if you want to use them to write a program, you should understand their functioning properly. So these are known as the shortcut assignment operators. Then we have got the comparison operators. So the comparison operators are less than equal to, greater than equal to, and the not equal to operator. The output of a comparison operator is a Boolean value. So it is either true or false which we get. So we are asking user to enter two numbers and then we write down our program to compare these two numbers, A with B. So if we run this program, enter number 1, let's say 2 and 9. Is 2 less than 9? Is 2 greater than 9? or A is greater than B, we get false. Is 2 less than 9? True. Is 2 not equal to 9? True. Is 2 equal to 9? False. Is 2 less than equal to 9? True. Is 2 greater than equal to 9? False. So the output associated with the comparison operator, which works with number values, is basically a Boolean operator. And we find usage of comparison operators in decision making statements. Is this clear? Okay. So these are all your number based operators which we have seen. Now the last topic for today comes where we are going to talk about the Boolean operators. So what are the Boolean operators? You have got or, and the not operator. So you have A, you have B, and you have A or B. This is how it is represented. If A is true, B is true, A or B is true. If A is false, B is true, A or B is true again. If A is true, B is false, A or B is true again. If A is false, B is false, it is false. Then we have got the AND operator, A, B, A and B. So if A is true, B is true, it is true. If A is false, it is false. If B is false, it is false. If both are false, it's false. Then we have got the not operator. So you have A and not A. If A is false, not A is true. If A is true, not A is false. So these are our Boolean operators which work with the Boolean data type. These truth table clear to you guys? So where do we use these Boolean operators? If we come across a situation where we have to work with two or more conditions, then we use these Boolean operators. For example, let us take a question. Find out all numbers which are even and greater than 10. So let us say we have to find out all numbers which are even and greater than 10. So there are two conditions. Condition 1 is number has to be even. So num mod 2 should be equal to 0. Condition 2 is that the number should be greater than 10. And which operator should we use in between these two conditions? Will it be a or a and? Will it be a or a and? It will be an and because both the conditions have to be met. I did not say find out number which are either even or greater by 10. I have said find out the numbers which are both even and greater by 10. So the operator which we use between these two condition is basically an and operator. Okay. So both the conditions have to be met for this program to work. Let us have another question. Find out all numbers which are divisible by 2 or 3. Can you try out the condition expression which you will create for this program? So that's right. So the operator to be used between the two conditions is the OR operator, and num mod 2 equal to 0 and num mod 3 should be equal to 0. So this is the output. So this, we are asking the user to enter a number and we want to print if the number is divisible by 2 or 3. So this is the expression we have created. Otherwise, if I want to find out if the number is divisible by 2 and 3, this would be the expression which we will create. So when we run this program, let us say we enter a number. So we entered the number 8. Number is divisible by 2 or 3, output is true. Number is divisible by 2 and 3, output is false. Is this clear? Great. Good. So let us take few assignment problems for today. Write down a program where we ask user to enter data as follows. Where we ask user to enter measurement for a square, a rectangle, and a circle. Based on the information, we print the area and the parameter calculated. Question 2 is, write down a program where we take input from the end user and find out if the number is divisible by 5 but not 7. Question 3 is, ask user to enter So ask user to enter the following information: principal rate, number of times that interest is compounded per year, and the time of the years the money is invested in for. Find out the amount. So the formula which is associated is amount is equal to principal in brackets 1 plus interest rate upon number of times interest is compounded per year to the power time. So this is the link you can refer to calculate and understand how will you calculate the compound interest. So these are the three questions which you guys have to do. Once you are done with them, you have to send me your problem answers to this Gmail ID, to this ID, info@5elementslearning.com, the ID which we have been using to communicate with each other. So on this, you please email me once you are done with your assignment solutions, okay? There is generally no timeline referred to by when you should submit your assignment solutions. As in when you guys are able to, if you are able to create your schedule where you basically work on a weekly basis, that would be the best. But depending upon the time availability at hand, it is advisable that you practice these assignments, write pseudocode, share your code so that I can evaluate and get back to you. Is this clear? Okay. Now, I would request a small feedback. How was the session for you guys? And if you have any suggestions for improvement. Okay, Samir, thank you. A little fast. Okay. I thought I was going slow. Okay. I will reduce the speed. So even if during the session you think that I'm going a little too fast for your comfort, just let me know and I will reduce my pace. Sometimes when you guys are promptly answering, I just keep on brushing it up. So just let me know that I need to reduce the pace. I will. Okay. So so the whole idea is that you guys learn effectively and become very good with Python and APM. So that's the objective. And I will see you guys then tomorrow. Okay, same time. So go through the concepts we have learned today. Try to work on your assignment problems. In our initial few classes, I would expect that you guys write down the pseudocode first and then the actual program. Yes. So the assignment, the notes, the recording, etc., everything will be shared with you in the next 1 or 2 hours. Okay, it will be all shared through email to all of you. Okay then. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye everyone.